Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we are back. The Agents of Helm are back in the building. We are here. This is our weekly episode, as you all well know. And this episode, we will be diving into season finale of Game of Thrones. But first, as usual, we go ahead and take a quick look at the box office that was the weekend of June the 13th to the 15th. That was the previous Friday to Sunday. So we're gonna just work with the top five. At number five, we have The Fault in Our Stars coming in with $14.7 million. Have any of you guys seen that yet?
I'm actually planning to see it on Friday if Fandango cooperates with letting me buy a ticket.
Okay, I'm not surprised that you would be the one that answered.
Yeah.
Well,
What's the fault with that answer?
That I'll probably cry buckets. That's the
well,
fault.
we'll look forward to your review. I was actually interested that it's actually fallen so far from one last week all the way down to five. Given that it hasn't been a lot of, it doesn't seem like there was a whole bunch of competition. But
let me put it this way. There is no repeat viewing. I know that much. Just based on the book, you do not. It's like this movie Dancer in the Dark. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Basically it ends really kind of horrifically, and it makes you not feel good about the universe, and you really don't want to see it.
Great movie though. It's got great music.
Oh, I love it. Bjork was amazing. The music
so depressing.
Yes. It's like
okay.
Yeah.
It reminds me of probably the most depressing movie I've ever seen was The Road.
Oh, I haven't seen that. But
Way more depressing than The Road.
Really?
I bet you it is.
The Road is extremely depressing, but okay. At number four, we have Edge of Tomorrow dropping one spot from its number 3 ranking last week. Edge of Tomorrow pulled in $16.5 million. So it looks like Tom Cruise is holding steady for the next couple of weeks. We don't really have much coming out this next weekend, but as we start to go into July, I have a feeling Edge of Tomorrow, it needs to make its money quick before other things take it over. At number 3, we have Maleficent, Angelina Jolie's soiree into the Disney lore, and that pulled in $18.5 million. So looking pretty good as well. This is its third or fourth week in the box office, so it's holding firm. And as Disney movies go, and Angelina Jolie, I'm pretty sure this is going to stick around for at least in the top 10 for the majority of the summer. At number 2, we got How to Train Your Dragon 2, pulling in just under $50 million at 49.4. This, as some of you may know, this is the sequel to, of course, How to Train Your Dragon, which came out a couple of years ago. It's DreamWorks' their original tale of How to Train Your Dragon. So I mean, it's basically the premise of the film is that we are in a time where dragons are hunted and killed and hated by is it the Vikings, Johanna?
Yeah, it's the Vikings.
Yeah. Yes, and one young boy basically falls in love with his pet dragon, and the rest. I don't want to give too much away, but the rest of the story basically, the first movie basically focuses around their relationship and how he builds that relationship, and how the rest of the Vikings turn to, I guess, appreciate the dragons and more, and everything that happens. It was a really great movie. How to Train Your Dragon 2, I have not seen. I've only seen a couple of trailers for it. I have not seen a lot of it, but I would have figured that it's just as good as the first one, and or maybe even better. So go check that out if you get a chance to. I'd like to hear a review back from you guys. And at number 1, we have Fat Jonah Hill and kinda plump. Kind of plumps Channing Tatum. Definitely not Magic Mike Channing Tatum. Coming in with 22 Jump Street. As you guys also know, this is also a sequel of the 21 Jump Street film, which came out a couple of years ago, where Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill play undercover cops to kind of undercover, I guess, teenage cops now, I guess college cops that are on spring break to bring down some other drug-infested situation. For some reason, people still go and watch this stuff. It pulled in 57 million over the weekend. I have a feeling it's going to drop tremendously over the next 5 weeks, but for some reason, people like Fat Jonah Hill and Plump Channing Tatum. So, guess what? They're gonna keep going and seeing this. But without further ado, we have our resident psychopath, Lorenzo, going to give us a resounding review of 22 Jump Street.
Just call me a psychopath?
Yeah, you went to see 22 Jump Street in the opening weekend. You are a resident psychopath, sir. You are going to give us a nice review of 22 Jump Street.
I'll tell you what, Malik. Remember that kid in school everybody liked, but nobody really thought would amount to much? He was the one, if his grades fell too low, teachers they'd still take him aside and they'd encourage him to live up to his potential. But they delivered the speech half-heartedly, and the general consensus in the lounge was like an optimistic hope that he might make assistant manager at the local Walgreens by the time he turned 40. That's the kid, when he brought up higher education, his counselors would indulge him, and they would suggest starting with 9 hours at the community college. But you know what? Maybe he was smarter than we gave him credit for. Maybe he knew how to laugh at himself, was aware of his shortcomings, embraced our goodwill, milked it even. Of course, he doesn't make the dean's list. Maybe he even goes on probation for swiping a few dusty formulas. But he's able to tweak most of the old material just enough to avoid any accusations of plagiarism. And almost at times, he actually comes up with something almost new. And sure, he passes, but he's the one that everybody at the ceremony cheers for when he actually crosses and gets his diploma. Not only because he made it, but because this extended metaphor is finally over. Yeah, people did, as a matter of fact, clap when 22 Jump Street came to its, I admit, silly ending, where Broheem's Chatham and Tatum made up. Take out the, did I say that right? Chatham and Tatum? Tatum and Hill.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill. They take out the bad guy. They take out his daughter. They save their captain, Ice Cube. Lovely as always. They save Spring Break, and they save the country from a new synthetic blah 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 blah. You know, if you actually care what this movie is about, then it is probably not for you. If, on the other hand, you want a good laugh, if you went and saw the first one and you found yourself somewhat amused, then I do think that 22 Jump Street is for you. Like I said, they do play on their strengths, and they also celebrate their, I guess, weaknesses. Very much self-aware comedy. And it works. It works. The two of them, Chatham and Hill, they have good. I think they have good chemistry, and it seems to pay off. Like I said, we all are rooting for them. We like them. You can't help but like these two guys, and they do use it for their advantage. The movie is solid, Malik. To be honest with you, I think it might do okay next week. I'm sure it's going to drop off, but I don't think it is going to drop off as much as you're suggesting that it would if, say, it was a horrible movie, because it's doing okay. It does okay. It does the job. It delivers, and it makes a lot of fun of itself while it's doing it. Yeah, so I would give this film I would give it 2 out of 4 agents, because
2 out of 4.
I enjoyed it. I think Joe would like it. I'm not sure about Johanna, and I think Malik's a hater. So I'm gonna give it
Lorenzo, here's the big question. I have a big question for you.
give it 2 out of 4 agents.
Lorenzo,
What's that?
which one's better, 22 Jump Street or Amazing Spider-Man 2?
See, why you gotta go there, Joe?
I'm just asking, in your opinion, which is
No,
better?
okay. See, the thing about movies, right, is you got to take them for what they are. You got to take them for what they are. And 22 Jump Street is definitely a movie. If you go see this movie, you're not gonna be disappointed because the fact that you're going to see this movie means that you're willing to suspend your disbelief that it's gonna be a crappy movie, and and give it the benefit of the doubt as far as thinking that you're in the mood for a comedy. If you're gonna go see Spider-Man, then you want to see Spider-Man, and Spider-Man delivers on Spider-Man. I'm telling you, Spider-Man is different from any other of the characters in superhero.
I didn't want to spur a whole Spider-Man discussion. I'm just asking,
asking.
on the Lorenzo meter,
apples and oranges, Joe. Apples and oranges.
If I had said Lorenzo, pick one. Which one do you want to see again?
I would give Spider-Man. I would also give it 2 out of 4 agents.
Well, look, no one wants to see. I mean, look, here's my thing. I think that 2 things definitely work in its favor. I think the fact that it's coming out during a really slow 2 weekends in summer movie blockbusters in summer movie season. I mean, this previous weekend, 22 Jump Street was pretty much by itself with How to Train Your Dragon 2, which those are 2 entirely different fan bases. And then next weekend we have the only movie that is really releasing that looks like it'll take any of its flurry would be Think Like a Man 2, which of course has its own niche fan base. So I think that's one thing is definitely that it's come in during this time where it really doesn't have much to go up against. And then the second thing is people like Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, and they
I don't.
They want to root for the chubby.
Jonah, I mean Johanna, have you ever seen what's it called? This Is the End?
No, I have to admit I saw maybe like an hour of it and I really liked it.
Okay, well, watch that movie, and if you don't like, why do I have so much trouble with his name? Tatum? I keep wanting to call him
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
If you don't like Channing Tatum by the end of This Is the End, then you're just,
I'm just another hater.
I don't think that's a right. I don't think you get a proper assessment for Channing Tatum from This Is the End.
Isn't he just wearing like a thong or something and dancing around? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, you're about right.
Yeah.
You're about right.
No. My qualms are not against Mr. Tatum. I assume that what he does is what he does, and I'm sure people root for it. And I don't mind Jonah Hill. I just would never root for him. Like, he's like a slug that's just like in all these movies, and you're like,
wow.
Slug, you're a very interesting slug. But if you were in your own movie, I would not root for you. I would assume that you would get squashed by something.
Well, he's never in his own movie, except maybe The Sitter, which wasn't too bad. I did see The Sitter. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm saying holds true is that most people like Jonah Hill. Most people like Tatum, and this movie definitely is just one of those movies where you get to see a couple guys that you like, and that it's no different than a Cheech and Chong movie or a Harold and Kumar movie.
It's very different from Cheech and Chong and Harold and Kumar. Those are comedic geniuses. Okay.
Yes.
This is. Yeah, I get it. 22 Jump Street fills a void. It definitely fills a void in a genre where there really isn't anything out there, and that's fine. And it'll probably it did well last week. It'll probably do well again this week because there's really nothing that's going to be challenging it. But in the coming 3 to 4 weeks, I do expect to see it take a bit of a dive. And then to pick back up during the DVD times. I do know that there are, a relatively large amount of people that do like it, and like you said, Lorenzo, people are in the corners of Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, and they like them. So, and that's why they made a second movie, and that's why the first one did so well. But we'll see. I mean, it's all a matter of time.
It did 138 million, and I think this one is gonna, it'll get up to 80, and I think there's a good chance there's gonna be a 23 Jump Street, and they've already made the posters. Like the end credits are filled with about a dozen posters for possibilities for the next 12 different 20. That's the kind of humor that they use throughout the movie. For example, there's one part where they're now at 22 Jump Street. Their old headquarters is at 21 Jump Street, and they're like, oh, it's convenient that right across the street there's a 22 Jump Street. And then as they're walking over there, you see next to 21 Jump Street, it's construction site for 23 Jump Street. That's going to be coming spring of 2015 or something. So there's a lot of like jokes where it's poking fun. It's definitely poking fun at itself and letting the audience know that none of this should be taken seriously.
Okay, that's kind of funny. That's like very like Mel Brooks. I can get behind that.
I'll say it would be very interesting if a part of every movie was that they blow up their station house and therefore they have to move down the block.
They have to move.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing.
And I gotta tell you, I mean, I liked Ice Cube in the last one, and in this one, Ice Cube is hilarious.
Funnier than he was in the Kevin Hart movie?
I didn't see that. I didn't see that one, though. I'm sorry. I think you did, but
I did see it. I haven't seen 22 Jump Street. I think I'm gonna wait for it to come on Fox, and then I'll probably see it.
Well, fans, if you guys have seen any of the 5 movies that we've discussed so far, and you wanna chime in, feel free to send us a post. Feel free to send us a link. If you have your own reviews, Fault in the Stars, Edge of Tomorrow, Maleficent, How to Train Your Dragon, or 22 Jump Street, feel free to chime in at the website or tweet us. Just jump in and tell us how you feel about these movies and what you're thinking about. We look forward to Johanna's review of The Fault in Our Stars sometime possibly next week. And we will see if myself and Joe and Lorenzo get to see any one of these other top 5 films, so we can jump back in. So that's all for the box office, and that leads us into
Let's go to Game of Thrones.
Topic of today's discussion, and that is the season finale of Game of Thrones. Now, what was the title of this week's episode? Did we have a
Children?
The Children.
Mm-hmm.
The Children. Okay, and this episode. So I'd have to say that this episode, it takes a step away from last week's episode, where last week's episode was all about the War at the Wall.
A little step away.
Yeah, still started with the wall.
It starts with the wall, but I
groaned when I saw Jon Snow walking away from the wall. I was like,
Well, I think from that moment, it goes rather far away. I mean, we don't come back to there after that very first scene. With Jon Snow and when he meets Mance Rayder. But I mean, my point is to say that this episode, unlike the last episode, goes back to what we know and love from Game of Thrones, which is the ability of the show to jump and tell different pieces of all the stories that are going on at the same time, rather than focus on one story and just kind of take us down that path. And in doing so, it was able to wrap up a lot of the storylines of the season, while also giving us kind of insight into the new season. So
I feel like we need to tell people that there are going to be spoilers. Very soon.
Yeah. As I start introducing shows and movies from now on, I think I'm going to mention that. But yes, as Lorenzo stated, be warned, we will be spoiling the living dog shit out of this show. And so if you have not yet gone and seen it, do yourself a favor, pause the podcast right now, or pause it as you're listening to it, download it for later, go watch the episode and come back and see and listen to our breakdown. So, Lorenzo, how about we start with you? What was your take on the episode? What did you like? What didn't you like? And where do you think we're going in the next season?
Okay, so I honestly didn't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't what I was expecting. I felt like a lot of stuff was just not resolved. A lot of stuff that had been building up throughout the course of the year just is gonna, I guess, continue to build up now. I mean, I don't know, because like I seriously don't care as much. It was very disappointing to see a lot of stuff that just kind of like there's just a lot of loose ends. I mean, Brant spent all this time getting over to, and of course I admit wholeheartedly that I really didn't care one way or the other what happened to this kid, but he spent all this time getting to this place, and when he finally gets there, it's just, nothing really. I mean, it does happen, and what happens there is just like ridiculous. I, there's basically some little kids. It made me think of what's it called, Terradome, Mad Max 3.
Yeah.
You know, the part when it started to suck. That was what this was. It was like when I saw the little explosions, the fire bombs come out and start. Well, even when the skeletons came out, and then the skeletons come out, and then on top of that, the fire bombs come out that are being thrown by this little girl who can't throw. I mean, I wish somebody had spent some time. I was looking at the credits, and they have a wolf unit. I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm not sure what the wolf unit does, but they have a wolf unit. I think they also need to have teaching girls how to throw unit, because the little girl like just throws like over her shoulder and like horrible throw, and yet the rock or whatever she's throwing just flies through the air and.
She's throwing flame, isn't she?
What?
Isn't she throwing flame?
She's throwing like a little fire bomb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's throwing it horribly. She's throwing it like a little girl.
She is a little girl.
I know.
And she's hitting the target.
I know, but I didn't find it.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, looking at her follow through, I don't think that she actually hit the target. I think they did a little movie magic, TV magic. Because I think she was way off. That's what I think. So I would have liked to see the wolf unit maybe work with her and help her.
Work on her mechanics? Work on her mechanics?
Work on her mechanics. And, and so at that point I was like, the show is jumping the shark. That was honestly, that's what I thought when I saw that. And it's crazy to think that about Game of Thrones, right? Because Game of Thrones is like, they grabbed the shark by the head and they squeezed its eyeballs in and made its face explode already.
Kind of like Oberlin. Kind of like Oberyn. Excuse me. Oberyn.
Right. So for them to jump the shark after they blew its head in was surprising, and yet somehow they did it. And again, like even with Tyrion, you're waiting to see what happens to him this whole time. Yes, there's the huge payoff. Spoiler alert, he kills his dad. Which, the guy had it coming, but okay, you got to admit he was smooth about it, right? Like, he's like, oh, I was going to let you go. Come on, let's go talk about this. That dude handles pressure very well. And I'm kind of sad to see him go, but, and now everything is going to be all crazy with the Lannisters. Like, everything is up in the air with the Lannisters. Just everything is up in the air. It doesn't seem like anything got resolved.
Like, actually, like, I mean, in my opinion, like, he was actually, like, a pretty competent ruler.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a shitty Father's Day, though. Like, in the morning, he finds out that his his grandson is also his grandson, like, double grandson. He finds out his daughter and his brother and her brother have been boning, and finds out that basically his claim to the throne, like his legacy, has just been like, is just all a big joke. And then the other son, the little demon son that he was trying to get rid of, ends up getting out. And then to top it all off, he shoots him in the chest 2 times. It was a very shitty Father's Day. I felt kind of bad for the guy. On the other hand, that's what happens to you when you're an asshole, dick asshole. And he was like, he killed people when he needed to. He kind of reminded me of Stringer Bell from The Wire a little bit. he did what he had to do, but it still didn't mean, I mean, you kind of understood what he was doing, but he was still a jerk about it. Yeah, and then Daenerys, I mean, why did she put her dragons in storage? Like those are the two dragons that were actually on her side. You don't do that to your friends. They were her like they were like her dragons. The third dragon was the one that was giving her the trouble. So what she
Yeah.
do? She puts away the two good dragons, punishes them for the stuff that the third dragon is doing. Now she doesn't have any backup as far as dragons go. And yeah, so she's got this crazy dragon flying around. The only possible people that could stop that dragon, she locked them up and put them in the what do you call those things where you put the
She put
dead
him in the catacombs. She put him in the
catacombs, right? She puts them in the catacombs, and it was a and it, I didn't choke up when that happened because I was just mad at her because I felt like she did them dragons wrong. I mean, like she needs to go see How You Tame Your Dragons 1 so that she can get a handle on her third dragon. But I mean, come on, you have dragons flying around. Of course, little kids are going to get eaten every once in a while. Like they need to be off killing people.
The dragon didn't eat the kid. He burned it to a crisp.
No, but it was just bones.
Yeah, burnt.
Yeah, burnt the skin right off and the
Yeah.
fat.
Maybe I don't know, because like Paul Walker, he got like
Oh, stop.
Okay, let's.
Not letting you go there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
too
I'm just
soon.
saying. It's very possible that he maybe ate the bones. He like cleaned the bones off, and then the dad like assembled the bones, like a what do you call those guys that assemble bones?
Well, I'm less interested in how the boned up baby got to the
Not Tommy Jones, man.
But my point is, you need to be sending these dragons out on missions to
They're
kill
not
people.
paleontologists.
clearly.
Bored. They're bored. It's just like a teenager. If the teenager doesn't got something to do, he's gonna get in trouble. You need to send them out on missions to go kill people.
Well, clearly she's more worried about them going out there and doing things all on their own, at their own volition, rather than listening to her and doing exactly what it is that she wants them to do, which is why she felt the need to lock them up, I guess, and as I guess as a sign of good faith to the people as well, because
Yes.
dragons running around, you want the people to respect you and to love you and to believe that you're out for their well-being. If they say, hey, your dragons are out there running around running amok, even if it's just one of them and it's just that one, kind of a show of good faith is to go ahead and lock the other two up. But yeah, hey, we never know. Johanna, how about yourself? What did you?
Malik. Why can't she put them Can't she build them like a little house that they can live in, like with some ceiling space with some
Well,
light?
in the meantime,
he might do
lock them
that
up
in the
until you
next.
get them a doghouse. Okay,
Yeah.
until you get them a doghouse, you lock them up. How about that? You chain them to the wall. Johanna, how about you? What was your?
I was really disappointed in the episode.
Really?
Yes, I felt that the episode before last was important, but I'm not sure we needed a whole episode about the wall. So,
We
but
definitely didn't need a whole episode about the wall.
yeah. So, but I was thinking, okay, maybe they're trying to just save the good stuff for this episode, right? Like they're trying to kind of pace themselves. So I mean, what do we get? We get the wall. God, we've already been there. We get Bran and the fucking tree and the fucking old dude who says he's a crow or whatever. And I don't remember what else happened. Oh, Cersei and Jaime. Like I always find the King's Landing thing like very interesting. For me, like the highlight was that unexpected fight between Brienne and the Hound.
What about
Thank
that?
you. I didn't even get to tell. I was going to talk about that. I was waiting to talk about that. Go ahead.
We can wait to talk about it. I'll just
No,
say
you go ahead. Go right in. Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, starting with like this kind of like this moment where Brienne and Arya are like, "Hey, sup," and Brienne's like, "My dad didn't want me to like learn how to, fight either, and my dad didn't either." And I don't know. I thought that was a really cool moment. But then that fight, oh my gosh, it was like the fight that we never knew we wanted. Like who would have thought, right? Brienne and the Hound. I just thought it was really cool. It obviously wasn't like the best, like the most visually arresting fight, but I thought it was the most interesting in terms of character development, and the fact that like they kind of like no more swords and they do hand to hand for a while, really cool. So that was the highlight for me, and it really shouldn't have been, because I feel the highlight should have been Tyrion escaping, killing Shay, and killing Tywin. And the way that it was done was very abrupt and sudden and very unexplained. Jaime all of a sudden has these keys. I don't know why he has these keys. The last time we saw him, he was like boning his sister. And now we're just getting this. And, you know, then Tyrion's like, okay, like, like, there's just no suspense. There was no suspense whatsoever. And then you see Shay and you're like, okay, and he kills her. And then he kills Tywin, and it just happens too fast. Like my husband and I were watching, he paused it at one point before that, and it was like they were already at 52 minutes. So really they spent maybe 5-6 minutes on this sequence, and then we have Arya getting on the boat to Bravos. And I don't know, I think I might agree with Lorenzo that I'm not sure if they jumped the shark, but this was just more I mean, considering that the Oberyn Martell episode was so great, the Joffrey's death was so great, and it really ended on a kind of note. Also, I'm upset that we were robbed an Oberyn Martell funeral. That's all.
Joe, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna side with Johanna and Lorenzo on this one. I like I said before we start recording. I mean, when you take each episode individually, you feel like stuff is going somewhere. But when I look at the entire season, I feel like not much happened. Mm-hmm. We went through 10 episodes, and I just don't feel like I got 10 episodes worth of stuff moved forward. But you know, as far as the last episode goes, and then you guys mentioned this yet, but remember the scene where they had the mountain on the table and these doctors were like,
oh yeah,
like operating on him. It was just like, bring him back. I'm like, bring him back. The dude's dead, right? So
not dead.
And what is he?
Like, fucked up. He's dying. He's definitely dying.
They're covering their noses, like as if there's like some kind of stench.
No, but it's from the infection. I could be wrong, but it sounded like Oberyn poisoned him.
Yeah, he had poison on the tip of his spear. That he was using.
So that's what stunk was the infection.
Because I was under the impression that he was dead.
I was also under the impression that he was dead.
It didn't look like. But anyway, they give him some. I don't know what they give him. They inject something into him, and I have no idea what it is, and we'll see where that goes next season. Also, did you see the burials that the Watchmen got, and as far as the Jedi type burials where they get burned, lying on the wood, and then what's his face? Jon Snow takes Ygritte to the north side of the wall, does the same for her.
Yep.
And I found it kind of amazing that we start with Arya and the Hound out away from what's the name of the castle again where they went, where Sansa's supposed to be?
The Eyrie.
Yeah, the Eyrie. So they get to pretty much the front door, and Sansa's on the other side of that door, and yet they still don't meet. Again, they still, for whatever reason, they just happen to just turn around and leave. Don't even ask to see who's there or whatever. So Arya and Sansa, again, within feet of each other, but somehow miss each other. Let's see what else. Oh, so we haven't talked about Stannis going to the north. Again, I know we talked a little bit about it amongst ourselves, but how the hell did he get there? If he took boats, those are some fast freaking boats to get from the Iron Bank all the way up north and to be there just in time to save Jon Snow's ass. I don't know how fast they got there. I had no idea they were going to be there. I thought it was the crazy bastard dude and his
He's
father.
He's not a bastard anymore.
He's not a bastard anymore, right? I thought it was him and his dad rolling in there because they were already in the north. But no, it's Stannis and the Onion King. I don't know how they got there, but they are there. Um, and how the hell did Shay end up with Tywin? When did that exchange take place? We had no idea that this happened. Yeah, it was a shock to see, but I would like to know how that arrangement came about. Clearly, she was paid off to betray Tyrion, but like, what was the trade-off? Was she just going to be sleeping with him?
I'm
What did he
telling you, it's
promise
like
her?
The Wire, Joe. He's just like Stringer Bell. He's just like Stringer Bell, and poor what's his name? Tyrion is like Malik, help me out here.
I don't know who you're comparing to.
D'Angelo.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
D'Angelo. Okay.
in either case, I mean, I would like to know what the arrangement was and why Shay. I mean, I know why Shay betrayed him because of Sansa and everything, but still, I mean, come on, I would like to know. Um, and
Joe,
yes,
Shay's a whore.
I know she's a whore, but still,
It's pretty much all you need. It's pretty much all you need.
And then the whore thing in the bathroom, don't call her a whore. Say whore again, and then shoots him twice. So it was a little Sam Jackson Pulp Fictionist type, but it was good. And the other thing, and you guys know how much I love Khaleesi, the character and everything. And I didn't see enough. The fact that she locks up the dragons in the catacombs in order to protect her current constituents, I guess, or her people. But I mean, come on, it would be nice to see the other dragon. I mean, every promo they show for Game of Thrones, there's always a dragon flying over something, or and yet we get pretty much no dragons this season. Maybe season 12. We'll see.
I feel like so much
else?
happened. I felt like so much happened last season, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, I kind of had the same feeling at the end of last season too, but and I love when they put Tyrion in the box like a freaking animal. They put him in a box with little holes in it and load him onto the ship.
Oh.
That's like, what is this, Madagascar?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did Varys get on the boat with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Varys is on the boat.
Because he heard the bells and he's like, oh shit, like I need to to take a moment to myself.
In the boat. And Arya cashes in that coin, that the assassin gave her, and
Jack and her.
Yeah. And then what's his face? Like, oh, you got the coin, and then he was like, okay, you have passage, you have it all. So I guess that that coin really obviously worked. But again, overall, not overly. It wasn't knocked over by this episode. It was okay. Obviously the Oberyn Mountain episode was much better. It was probably the best episode of the season.
Why couldn't she finish the Hound off? Like, I mean, it would have checked. It's like he said, it would have checked the name off his list, and they did have like a relationship where I felt like she kind of owed him the courtesy of putting her needle through his heart, and yet she walked away from him. I had a huge problem with her for that. And then her sister Sansa finally gets interesting. Like two episodes ago, she finally does something semi-interesting, and then they don't show her at all. Like, they don't show anything of. Once she's finally become something that I'm kind of interested in, it's like they take her away. Why?
Well, I think, Lorenzo, to answer your first question, why she doesn't kill him is just like, she doesn't give him the death that he wants. That's what he wants. What he wants is to be stabbed in the heart and basically die, I guess a warrior's death or whatever. And she's just not going to
get killed by a little girl.
She's not going to give him. No, he didn't.
You want it?
Killed by a little girl. He got killed. He got killed in battle. And he wanted to. He was ready to die. He wanted to go out in that soldier's manner. I got get stabbed and take me out. I'm done. So rather than do that, I think it was an even greater punishment for her to just leave him there.
I understand that she was punishing him. My question is, why?
I mean, she wanted him to suffer, and I mean, the thing is also, like, he kept bringing up these things that had happened, like, kind of trying to get her to kill him, like, telling her about how his horse smelled like the butcher boy, and how he, like, had a chance to rape Sansa, and he should have done it. But instead of making her want to kill him, she's like, well, I'm just gonna let him suffer. It's like, thank you for reminding me of all that horrible shit you did to like my family and the people I love.
Exactly,
Right, but
because
it looked like she wasn't going to do it anyway. Like it really
I
looked
think
like
she
she
was.
was
I really think that there was a point where she was going to go there, where she would have done it, where she was kind of sitting there and she was talking to him, and he was asking her to do it, and he was asking her, and I think that there was a point where she would have done it. Maybe she would have just talked to him a little longer because of the fact that, hey, he had been her protector. He had been somebody that was with her for that duration of time, regardless of all the crazy stuff he had done to her, and he had done around her. She did have some kind of feeling towards him in terms of, hey, I'm with you. And I think that there was a part of her that didn't necessarily want him to die, and then he kind of reminded her about the asshole that he is, and the complete jerk that he is, and all the things that he's done. And she said, you know what, screw you. You don't even deserve the pity that I was giving you by staying with you until your final hour. I'm just gonna walk away and leave you to die on your own.
Yeah, I kind of have a problem with that. I mean, I have a problem with her doing that to him because it's just mean. And I mean, and to me, again, it seems pointless because what it does is it doesn't. It's like there's no closure. He, for all she knows, he does not die, and he was on her list. So like she had the opportunity to like to get some closure on that whole relationship, and she just walks away from it. Furthermore, I mean, if he does actually die, then I do feel kind of ripped off that we don't get to be there when he does. Like it's just like he's just gonna die and that's it. Like where's our closure? I mean, I don't want to see him go out like that with a broken leg, lying on the ground. Like I want him to like go out like killing his brother.
Actually, I do want him to go out like that. He's caused a lot of misery to a lot of people, and as we've seen this season, he kind of just kills indiscriminately. Like he has like his reasons, obviously, but I don't,
he doesn't care. I mean, like he goes. I mean, he kind of goes about doing his own thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about anyone. You think that there's points within the time when he's traveling with Arya that he actually does care a little bit about her, and he does see something in her that he respects or that he appreciates. But overall, I mean, he's the Hound for a reason. I mean, he's not a good person. He's not a good guy.
He's the Hound because he borrowed his brother's toy, and his brother put his face in the fire.
What I'm saying is
he's gotta mess you up.
What I'm saying is he's just not a good guy, and
give him a break.
He's not. To me, there's no what's the word? There's no like redeeming quality of the character throughout.
True, there are redeeming qualities about him.
This turnaround moment. Everything he's doing for profit. Everything he is doing to further his own goals. He's not doing anything in this situation for the safety or the sanctity of Arya Stark or anyone else. He's doing everything that he's doing in order to further his own goals. If he didn't believe that Arya could make him any money whatsoever, he would have left her to die in multiple instances that he had opportunities to do so. So
yeah, why didn't he leave her after the whole thing with the Eyrie was done? I mean, they never really got into that. How did they get from the Eyrie to where they were? What happened there? I mean, why not just leave her there? Hey, I don't need you now. Here, stay here. I'm out of here. Why?
They don't
stay together.
They don't touch on that, and
it's obvious that they have she goes with him willingly, because if there was ever a point where she could like just like get away from him and be pretty safe about it, that would have been the point when they were at the door, and and she could probably get through the door without him. But she chooses to stay with him. When what's her face comes to take her, she chooses to stay with the Hound.
Well, I guess it's a lot of her situations, the devil you know versus the one that you don't.
Yeah, but I mean, and he does take care of her. Like it's like and you're right. If he just was interested in the money at that point, he should have just cut his losses and walked away. But and furthermore, like why would he stick with her? Why, what did he owe her at that point? I mean, yeah, he killed people, but he did it all because he was a knight. Like he was basically he went from being a knight who followed orders. And if you remember, there's that scene when him and his brother are fighting during the that tournament or whatever,
They're
and
like
they're going
season
at it.
one.
Yeah, and the dad, not the dad, the king, tells him to stop, and and the hound is the one that bows down to the king as soon as he's told to, while his brother takes another swing at him, because he's like a faithful knight. And then once all that stuff goes down, and what was that, like the end of season 2, like he is now a Ronin, and he's on his own, and he's just trying to survive. And
But he says he's no knight. Like he says it. He
he's
says
not
I'm no
anymore.
knight when he.
He's not anymore. He's a
Well, he's
Ronin.
not a knight anymore because he left.
He was a knight, and now he's not. That's exactly my point. Is that now he's like on his own. He's just. I mean, if you don't feel sorry for this guy for like all the crap that he's been through and like the way that his life had worked out, yeah, the truth is he does have redeeming qualities. He opened up to Arya and like told her about like his fucked up childhood, and he has helped her out, and he's got a sense of humor, and he doesn't just kill indiscriminately. He kills when he needs to kill.
Well, there's, like I said, Lorenzo, there's definitely all of those.
Give me a chicken. All he wanted was a chicken, Malik. That was all he wanted. It's a reasonable request.
All those things that you mentioned about the character, all the things that you mentioned about him, to me, every redeeming quality that you just mentioned goes completely out the door the minute he starts opening his mouth, when he starts to tell Arya about the things that he did and the things that he wanted to do, not just to her, but to her family members and the people that she loves. So guess what?
He had a calf bone sticking out of his thigh.
It doesn't matter. That does not matter. That does not matter. When you're sitting there, and you.
He got Mike Tyson'd, Malik. How can you judge anybody who just got their ear ripped off and who has their ankle sticking out of their stomach?
You can completely judge him because that's what that final scene does. That final scene is him basically showing himself to be the person that he has always been, and that's not necessarily a good person. And to me, I mean, look. Would I have killed him? Probably. I probably would have, stuck the needle directly through his heart and taken him out, if for no other reason than just to make sure that he was dead. But because if he does survive, that he's clearly not going to like Arya anymore.
We've learned our lesson from Oberyn and Martell, basically.
Yeah.
No talking.
Absolutely. Take him out. Take him out. Get it done. Move on. So I actually just to kind of go on you guys. I liked the episode. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it was bad or it was good. It was like I said. It kind of touched on all of the points. It felt like for me that this one episode and you guys already pointed it out was kind of trying to catch up with the fact that they spent an entire episode at the wall. Where a lot of the stuff that they could have a lot of stuff they could have explained in the episode at the wall by not doing a whole episode at the wall, they could have stretched out all of those stories rather than kind of having one episode with all of these stories kind of mixed in with one another. And it kind of, to me, doesn't give credence or importance to any one story. It kind of just allows each story just kind of is a little segue or a little piece of the larger scale. It was kind of a wrap up episode. One quick thing about the Watchers at the Wall episode last week, which I do find interesting, is that the director of that, I don't know if you guys noticed when they in the opening credits, but the director of that episode was Neil Marshall, and I'm starting to think that Neil Marshall, who also directed The Descent, Dog Soldiers, and Doomsday, good director, very very good action director, and then some of his movies have been relative cult classics. But he also directed the Blackwater episode of season 2. So it seems as though whenever these are the two episodes that he's directed in Game of Thrones, and both episodes have been full-length episodes focusing directly on the fight or the battle. So it seems like whenever he's involved, the episode itself is going to be completely battle-centric. And that's probably why they went this route of the Watchers at the Wall, on the Wall, and using him as a director for this. I thought it was interesting. I did notice it when I first saw the opening credits that was going to be him, and I was kind of thinking to myself, it's interesting that they grabbed Neil Marshall for this episode. And then when I go back and see the Blackwater, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, so this episode, this finale was kind of like, all right, we've got a whole bunch of stories we got to put together at one point. We got to try to wrap them up. We're not going to give this we're not going to have this show back on again for another 10 months. So we got to figure out a way to kind of put it all together and give these people something to kind of go home with. So let's just give them a little bit here and a little bit there. And Johanna, you hit it right on you hit the nail right on the head. I thought that for the fact that the majority of the latter part of the season was about what happened to Joffrey and Tyrion's trial and Oberyn, everything, for you to for the show to kind of clean it up in the last 10 minutes of the episode and then kind of just leave it there. It felt empty. It felt really empty and really hollow, and it felt like, wow, you really could have taken like a good portion of time just to kind of go over all of this, all of what was going on, show us how, I didn't necessarily need to see Cersei and just guy Jaime make up, quote unquote.
That doesn't make sense.
And have their sexual moment, which of course now makes me second guess what Lorenzo was saying about the rape scene, but a few episodes ago. So, but I didn't need to see all of that. I didn't need all of that. I mean, I guess the realization of for Tywin to realize that everything that he has worked so hard to accomplish is all a lie, and it's all based off of incest, and it's horrible, and what's going on in his family. I guess it's the end for him. As a matter of fact, when that scene happens, I kind of thought to myself, oh well, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be, because his next motive would probably been to kill her. Right, or to find a way to get her out of the picture, or something along those lines. And I didn't think he was going to last very long after that. I will say it's a really bad way to go. I mean, dude, let me pull up my pants and I'm taking this shit. Can you just leave me? Like, it's kind of the worst place to get shot. I don't want to get found like this. Okay, can I pull up my pants? Leave me a little bit of dignity. Let me pull up my pants. Let me get myself settled in or whatever. If you want to shoot me, just shoot me. But let me at least pull up my pants first, please. I felt kind of bad for him in that sense. I kind of felt like all along he had all of this coming anyway. So I wasn't surprised about that. Yes, Johanna, you hit it right there as well. Brienne of Tarth and the fight between her and the Hound. I didn't see that coming at all. I did not know that they were going to fight. I thought it was just going to be some conversation between the two, and then eventually maybe they'd hook up or something like that. Like not between the two of them, but just like the four of them would just, go on their merry way together or something like that. I did not know it was going to get to the place where it got to. It got there really quick. The fight started, then it stopped, then it started again, then it stopped again, and it was great. I thought that was the best overall scene of the episode, and I just had a lot of fun watching that. The stuff at the wall, I'm still kind of confused about that. The stuff with Bran, still kind of confused about that. I'm not really sure what the hell's going on. I'm not even sure if I care so much. I do kind of like when he transfers himself into Hodor and Hodor becomes, like the Hulk. That's okay. That's pretty cool. But yeah, all that stuff was kind of just thrown together, and the Khaleesi stuff, again, same thing, kind of just thrown together. So I did like the episode because it did show me, and it did kind of give me a little bit here and there of all of the characters, and it did, finish the story of the Tyrion trial and everything. But as a whole, I'd probably give it about a 6 out of 10, and that's not saying much because I would give the Oberyn Martell death episode at least a solid 9. You could have ended the season right there, and I would have been okay. Okay, just right there. You could have ended the season and then just give me a synopsis, and I would have been okay. But
ooh, that's a good speculative point, isn't it? What if the season had just ended there?
Or at least ended the season with that.
Ended with, yeah. And then carried over the trial.
That would have been an awesome ending. Just to see, had the aerial shot of Oberyn, head splattered on the floor, and then season over. Yeah, I just want to see where they're gonna go from here. Again, I just hope there's some. They need to pick up the pace. I think there's way too many storylines. I think they need to start combining.
Storylines is that they're not doing things with them. Like, I don't know. They're starting.
It's hard to move like 6 or 7 storylines at a time.
They've done it. They've done it plenty of times. They've definitely
done it, but it's not. It's not. I don't. They need to start combining some storylines or something.
I'm actually going to say this may be the first time I'll ever say it. I think that staying so faithful to the book is slowing them down. There are obviously things that they've kind of collapsed into each other, and the Tyrion scene with everything that goes on with Jaime from like that point to killing Tywin is much more stretched out and makes more sense. But in terms of like the fidelity to the plot and the storylines, I'm wondering if you're right, if it's just too much. And there's just too many moving parts now because now Arya has her own thing. And I mean, in the books, Brienne of Tarth has her own storyline, and Jaime has his storyline, and Cersei has her storyline. So
it's too much. That's why you get 10 episodes and you don't feel like much has happened. Like things happen, but you just don't feel like 10 episodes worth of something happened.
Yeah, it definitely was like...
You really don't, because when you got 6 or 7 storylines, you can't tell them all in the same episode, so you're like switching on and off between different storylines. So by the time you get through 10 episodes, you've only really covered like maybe in reality 5 episodes per storyline, maybe 2 to 3. So it doesn't really feel like the story has moved.
Well, what did you make of? Remember when Bran is? I thought I was a little bit amused when the guy was like telling him that he's gonna get back what he lost, and the kid's like, "You mean I'll be able to walk?"
He's like, "No,
nope.
Never walk again. You'll be able to fly though."
Funny. That was, yeah, you'll be able to fly.
I would like to walk.
I'm sure he's just like, "What the hell? Like I can't." Oh my god.
You'll be able to fly through the bird's eye.
Well, what I was thinking was dragon. What if Bran can get a hold of that dragon and just like control dragon, and that would change things up a little bit.
It's his service animal, the dragon.
What's that?
I think we lost Johanna.
What did you think she was going to say, Joe?
Something about flying on the dragon or keeping control of the dragon. Oh, she's back.
Yes, I was saying that the dragon can be Bran's service animal. And he can be his legs and the wind beneath his wings.
Yeah, that would be cool to be able to bring a dragon into the library, and to bring a dragon in the subway, and then they can't discriminate against you when you want to bring your dragon to live in the apartment. Do service animals have to get? You need a deposit with a service animal, or are they what deposit exempt?
What do you mean?
When you bring a pet into an apartment, there's oftentimes a deposit just for the pet.
No,
I don't.
I don't know if he has that worry about that. You mean for his little cave wherever he has his dragon?
Lorenzo wants to know for his own edification.
Oh, for
Should
his
he ever find a dragon?
Like if I'm bringing a dragon, if I'm bringing a service dragon into an apartment in New York City, and they ask for a deposit,
you're gonna need a deposit, buddy.
When they ask for a pet deposit, do I need to pay that pet deposit on my service animal dragon?
I mean, I think that according to I can't believe we're talking about this, the American Disability Act, technically I think they're not supposed to be able to do that, and I think if they can do it, you can take them to court.
No, they can't. They can't. Yeah, they can't discriminate against you for it. They can't force you to pay for it. If it's required. My question about that was, so the dire wolves the dire wolf that travels with why does Bran have to ride on Hodor the entire day? Can't that dire wolf carry him? Like, can't we just get a saddle for the dire wolf and let him kind of ride the dire wolf all around the place? I don't understand this. I mean, he could just kind of. Those dire wolves seem pretty big, and Bran's kind of tiny, and like half.
Well, he's not. The thing, he's not tiny anymore. That's the thing. That kid has grown so much.
I know. He's like
because he's always on the floor.
remember Lost when Walt came back in the second season, and he was just like,
Yeah,
"Hello,
exactly.
I'm Walt."
Yep, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
the
that.
same
He's so
thing.
big now. His face has changed so much. I mean, look, well, his face has changed so much from what was the last episode they were in, like episode 3 or 4, and now it's the thing with the storyline. So we haven't seen them since like 5 episodes ago, at least.
Speaking
And
of,
then they continue in the last episode where like really nobody cares.
and like a very like in-depth kind of. I have a question. Speaking of faces changing, where the hell is Dario? And if he was like, he's only been in like 2 episodes. So if he's only in 2 episodes, why did they have to change the transporter Fabio guy into Eric Bana? Poor man's Eric
Who
Bana.
knows? I mean,
Yeah.
I think Khaleesi sent him. Khaleesi sent him to restore order to that other place. I forget the name of it.
And if we go,
to get the slaves back in control over there, and that was
if we go
it.
and follow him, that's yet another storyline we got to follow, right?
Yeah, it's just
I
too
don't
many.
want to follow him anywhere. Sorry.
So I mean, that's the
I
thing.
hate
It's
him.
just too many things to follow. I don't know. We didn't get any dragons this year. I'll say it again. I was really looking forward to some dragons in season 4, but no dragon action in season 4 at all.
The big question is, what now, guys?
Who knows? I have no idea where they're taking Tyrion. They put him on the boat. They never really mentioned where he's going.
They're taking him to a stupid place.
I'm sure it's a stupid place, but Arya's going to Castle Black, right?
No, she's going to Bravos to become an
Bravos.
assassin.
To
You
become
guys
an
stop
assassin.
saying that. Like, okay, I get it. She's gonna become an assassin, but that wasn't actually said in the show anywhere.
Well, she idolizes that guy.
I mean, it was implied by the fact that the assassin.
I know
gave
it was
the coin.
implied, but you read the books, so you're doing more than implying.
Did she not request initially to say, I want to go north, and then the captain said, hey, you don't want to go there. Then she's like, take me here instead or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
She's going to Jack and hometown.
whatever.
She's going to the water dancers home, like her dancing teacher, quote unquote.
So is it safe to say none of the Starks are ever going to meet again? I mean, at least for quite a long time, since she was right on the other side of the door from Sansa, but now she's appeared to move herself. She's going to be hundreds of miles away now.
They needed her. They need her to go be an assassin for whatever reason. Like Johanna's saying, she becomes an assassin. So when she's gonna come back, she's coming back as an assassin.
I hope they skip some years and change the actress. And it's not because I don't like her. It's not because I don't like her or think she's cute I think she's very good at what she does. But if she's going to be training to be an assassin, I don't necessarily think I want to see the training. Yeah, I just want her to come back and her be a badass.
I kind of think that's probably what they'll.
And then she's going to be older. She'll be older, and obviously they'll have to switch to a different actress.
In 10 months, it's like you're saying. In 10 months, she'll look older for sure. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
you can always make people look older, but the whole thing with her not meeting Sansa was why they couldn't meet, was because she has to go become an assassin, and meeting up with Sansa would have just made complicated things.
That could have been her first kill. She could have threw her out the moon door.
her sister?
Yeah, I don't know. Or throw Littlefinger out the moon door.
But she would have Littlefinger would have been like, haha, cha-ching, and he would have turned her into like a little lady. Like there was no room for her to be this.
I'm going to turn you into a little lady. You're gonna be mine.
He would say it just like that, and it would be disgusting.
She's no longer playing the game of kings any longer. Arya is on her own mission, has her own thing. I even think that if she saw Sansa, and realized that Sansa was pretty much just kind of allowing herself to be whisked here and fro, and really had no ambition or anything like that, she'd probably just want to get away from her anyway. She'd probably just look,
wants to get away from her anyways.
Shit I gotta do, man. You go over there and rock with your uncle, no problem. I got stuff I gotta go handle over here. So
Malik, remember, like, there's no love lost between the two of them. Like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she's still pissed at her for getting her dog and her friend killed.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like if they would have saw each other, it would have been like, hey, what's up, sis? What's going on? Yeah, what are you up to? Yeah, I'm getting ready to go kill all these people that are on my list. Yeah, what are you doing? Well, I'm just kind of sitting around. So, just kind of sitting around, and just kind of being me and trying to stay alive. And so, yeah, she'd have been like, okay, all right, well, I'll see you later then. I mean, they're really not, they're not close. And plus, I think it's a good thing that they stay away from each other because Starks get together, Starks get killed. As long as they stay apart from each other, they probably have a better chance of surviving separate than rather when they team up.
Speaking of Starks and stuff, any theories on why Melisandre was giving Jon Snow the intense googly eyes through the fire?
That have something to do with his mother?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe she's his mother.
I hope not.
So
you're the mother of a witch. I mean, you're the son of a witch.
Although, I mean, like, I guess Ned would have had to have sex with a witch, and why? And I think, and I've brought this up before, I think that it's because Jon Snow has royal blood, so she's looking at him like time to barbecue somebody.
Well, that's why she connected herself to Stannis, right? I mean, because of his lineage, basically.
Yeah. And she's
Yeah, so she's working her way up the ladder.
And
the other thing is that she can't have sex with Stannis, right? Like all the time. Like, so doesn't she like go get her sex from other people?
No, she only did it that one time with Robert Baratheon's bastard son, and then that was it. Yeah, whatever happened to that dude? I mean, they sent him on a boat. They sent him on a boat paddling. We haven't seen him since.
So much stuff I mean, you're right, Johanna and Joe. I mean, there's just so much. There's so many loose ends at this point that I'm starting not to care anymore.
Yeah, what happened to him? What happened to? I'm guessing the skeletons that came out of the ground were White Walkers. I'm assuming.
I think so.
They are White Walkers. They look a little different. Maybe that's what happens to them when they lose their skin. They just, they're walking around skeleton.
Because the case, then burning them does absolutely no good then.
Because when the skeleton touched the dead war guy, what's his name? The kid with the blonde hair, the one
Jojen.
Jojen. Jojen. Sounds Japanese. Anyway, Jojen. When they touch him after they kill him, his eyes turn blue. And then the fireball could Sunspot threw a fireball and blew him up. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I am obviously I will be watching next season, but I just want to see where everything ends up. But it's not that excitement. I want to say it didn't leave me wanting more.
Yeah.
Well, it'll build you up. It'll build you up next time. This come March of 2015, I think we'll be just as interested in it as we were before.
Yeah.
And we'll be ready. And we'll be ready for a new season of Game of Thrones.
But then, Malik, the bigger question, forget about Game of Thrones, is what are we gonna do now?
That was my next question. So I'm opening up the forum. So actually, what I wanted to do, if we have any viewers that want to suggest a show or something that you want the agents to watch, that you want us to chime in to talk about, feel free to send us some tweets, send us some emails, and let us know what you're watching and what you think that we should talk about and what you think that we should see. Meanwhile, you guys, Johanna, Lorenzo, Joe, if you want to come up with your own suggestions, things that we could watch as a group, maybe it's a show we can start from scratch, or a show that's been on for maybe a season or so where we can catch up on the episodes and kind of backtrack and talk. I mean, these weeklies are around so we can go through the box office stuff, but also talk about what we are watching as a group. So this is a good opportunity for us to kind of branch out and see what's next. I don't know if all of us are going to watch True Blood, but that is coming very soon, and so we can start watching that. We can start talking about that at some point. I figure at least some of our episodes will be dedicated to that the series finale of that show.
Yeah, this is the season. The series final season. So none of you guys really watched True Blood, so it wouldn't be fair for you to jump in on season 7.
You know,
I mean,
I think that like perhaps it's time that we branched off. You know, maybe it's time to see other shows. Because,
Yeah, I mean, like gang related. Anybody watching gang related?
No. Not yet.
no.
See, like, here's the thing. Like,
Nobody's watching gang related.
we had you know, The Walking Dead, and then we had you know, Game of Thrones. These are no-brainers. These are like big you know, event shows. These are like things that that everybody can agree on. It's unanimous. And now we're in this kind of this gray area where there's, you know, it's not really so anymore. I mean, the fact that only really Malik, do you watch True Blood?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so it's like 50%. And
Some of us watch it.
I don't know. I watched some of last season. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes. Well, okay, to be honest, I watched half of an episode last season. And I watched like I watched the pilot episode. Yeah, and it was kind of all I could stomach. I don't know. Maybe we need to branch out, and then we could have our updates, you know, be like an opportunity for us to update each other on what's going on these shows.
Well, I think we're limiting it. I mean, we have a whole summer full of movies ahead of us.
Well, yeah, we definitely have movies.
I mean, there's no reason not to talk about review movies.
I think we can definitely keep up doing reviews. I think we can definitely keep up doing movies. And I think it might be fun though, like, you know, for each of us to kind of bring a show to the table during these times, and just kind of give like a quick, you know, summary or explanation. I'll tell you, I am gonna watch the Leftovers.
No.
Yeah, I don't even. What is the premise behind that show anyway? I mean, I see a lot of people.
2% of the population just disappear. So there's many people that think it is the
alien invasion.
No. When
the Rapture.
The Rapture. A lot of people think it's the Rapture, but the people that get taken are not like, you know, they're not like all the people you would think would be taken. There's like some weird, like Condoleezza Rice gets taken, but a lot of other people.
Condoleezza.
Condoleezza Rice gets taken, but other people get left behind. So it's just like, you know, and so there's this. That's what it is. Nobody knows for sure that it's the Rapture. They just know that like 2% of the population disappear. Oh, help me out. I was thinking about this yesterday. Okay, so say 2%. You guys are like kind of into math, right, Joe, Malik?
Excuse me. Why would I not be into math?
Calm down, yeah. So look, there's 2% of the population disappears. Does that mean that there's a 2% chance that somebody you care about disappeared?
Does that mean there's a 2% chance? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Is 2% of the population disappeared? No, because then you still have to take the what percent of that? What percent does that person of the population make? Would be their percent of disappearing, right? That individual.
Say that again.
So how much does this one person make up of the population? Will be their chance of disappearing, right?
How much one person makes up of the population would be their chance of disappearing?
Right. So if there's 1 million people in your town, right, your chance of getting taken is 1 in 1 million, right?
Well, 2 in 1 million.
Why would it be 2?
Well, I mean, no. What do you mean 1? No, it'd be more than that because it's 2%. So 2%.
No, what I'm saying is you want to say 2% of the population is taken, but what were your chances that you would be taken? Right.
No, say you don't get taken. You're left behind. And the question is, the people. Is there a 2% chance that somebody you care about would be taken, or is it more? Is it more than that?
Well, it all depends on how many people you think will be taken in the next wave, or how many
No,
people
just
will
that
take.
one way. Just the one. Just
There's
that.
there's a lot of factors that go into that, Lorraine. You're talking about chances of being taken as opposed to the total that we're taking.
No, I'm talking about. The people like. Okay, so Tuesday, 2% of the population disappears. Wednesday, when you wake up, is there a 2% chance that somebody you care about isn't around anymore? That's my question.
Sure.
I couldn't give you that answer. I know if there's 7 billion people on the planet and 2% of the population disappear, we're talking about 1.4 million people of the world's population are gone. Now, out of that 1.4 million, how many people, I guess you could do the math and see how many people, you honestly feel are important in your life, and then kind of do the number there based off of the 1.4 million that have left, and then you look at what percentage of the people that are important to you could possibly be a part of that 1.4 million. That's probably your best way to do that kind of math.
That's basically what I just told them.
Yeah, that's basically your best way to do that kind of math. But the reality situation
You're kind of dodging the question.
Like, you're not dodging the question. You're asking two different questions.
In that if 2% of the population disappear, that there's only going to be a 2% chance that somebody cared about disappeared. That's
it depends on how many people you care about.
I don't.
Wrong? Is that like thinking? Is there something flawed in my reasoning there?
I think there's something flawed, but I can't tell you why.
Well, next week,
because it just doesn't make sense.
We will answer Lorenzo's math question, and we'll see if anybody really cares. Well, that's all we have for this week. I think that we covered we went pretty deep into Game of Thrones, and we covered some of the box office stuff. I think we're ready to go. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to share or anything they wanted to mention about either?
Oh, there's just one thing, Malik.
Yeah.
I think look, I think it's called 87 to 104. I believe is the name of it.
Was it a show?
Yeah, it's the big show. Heat versus Miami. Miami Heat versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted to talk about that.
Game 5, the Spurs won by almost 20 points. Were you guys expecting such a blowout?
I was happy it was such a blowout. I watched the whole thing, and I was very pleased.
Yeah, I didn't really care one way or the other. Didn't really bother me. I'm not invested in this series. I wasn't invested in this series at all. The end result was what it was, and we move on. And next November we get a whole new basketball season. Congratulations to the Spurs, and congratulations to all the fans of the Spurs. I hope there's plenty of you guys out there, and I hope you're all listening to the show. And congratulations to us for having you on. But for the most part, enjoy the summer. Joe, you guys have anything? Johanna, anything?
Yeah, go ahead, Johanna. Go, Johanna. Ladies first.
Just again, opening up the forum for our fans to engage with us on the various social media outlets we are on, the information of which will come on after we say bye. And bring us our reviews, shows we should watch, inaccuracies, factual inaccuracies, and so on. Yeah.
Why Spurs are the greatest dynasty in all of basketball history.
Wrong podcast. Joe.
Real quick, one of my favorite movies turned 20 years old last week. Speed. Great movie. Seen it a million times. It's now 20 years old. I can't believe it. Time is just flying by.
Wow.
And that's it, man.
Not realize that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pop quiz, Lorenzo. If I say 2% of the population was taken, does that mean 2% of your loved ones is taken?
Yes, it does.
Possibly. Okay, good.
Yes, it does.
And we've had that answer Well, that's it for tonight. For Joe, Lorenzo, and Johanna, I am Malik, and we are the Agents of Helm. As always, have a great night. We will see you soon for our next exciting episode, which will be moderated by, drumroll please, Lorenzo, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Kids, cautionary tale on the next podcast.
Stay tuned for that, and I'm sure we will have an exciting round of debate for you guys. So once again, I'm Malik. See you later. Peace.
Later.
Bye.